welcome to a new episode and welcome back to the channel. Today's video, I'm going to be talking about 5 things I hate about my Lexus RC 350. Now, before I get into too much of the hate of my own car, let me be clear, I absolutely love this car. This has been my favorite purchase of a vehicle I've ever had. I've not had a million cars, but I've had enough to know this one is the best. This one has been the most fun to drive, the most luxurious, the best handling. I just had the most enjoyment about riding this car at all. But there are a couple of things I wish they would have changed. And we're going to get into 5 things that I don't enjoy about it right now. So I'm already in the car. First off, it's kind of windy and it's a little cold outside. But the first thing I don't like about is kind of a softball pitch of like hate. I don't enjoy how many people don't enjoy the interior. It's a little weird. It's not exactly what I hate. I just don't like that not as many people enjoy the interior. Yeah, it's a little dated. It doesn't have a complete and utter touch screen on it. It does have a display on it, but it's all kind of just buttons and knobs. I like that because I feel like it's more of a, when I push the buttons, I feel like I know what I'm pushing, and there's multiple ways to do the same thing, and it's not all just if a touchscreen goes bad, well, now everything goes bad. So I enjoy the interior of the Lexus. A lot of people say it's well outdated by 2016. They're not entirely wrong, but even some of the newer cars now, I just had a rental. It was I think a 2023 Nissan Altima. Probably not the best example, but the best thing it had going for it was a touchscreen that did Apple Play and Android CarPlay and the stereo system. My next problem is also in the interior. Now, this one is actually something I have no idea why Lexus decided to do that. That's the rear seats. These rear seats are so small, it makes no sense. The only kind of person that would either be able to fit into it is an infant or somebody with nothing past the kneecaps. The seats come so close to the rear seats to be comfortable in the front that you would have to sit cross-legged in the back seats. Makes them completely pointless. I would have rather Lexus maybe made like more trunk space or just made some sort of like storage baskets or something in the back. I'm not really too sure. But these back seats, completely useless. It's hard to get into them. It's hard to get out of them. And when even you're back there, it would make no sense. I have never once ever had anyone in my back seats, and I doubt I ever will. I'm going to go ahead and get in the back seat so you can show you guys how cramped it is. Give me a second. Oh, there's a... It's all electronic. 1 second. It just takes a minute. I don't know if you can see. That's about it. There we go. That's everything. That's all the room. Let's go ahead and just squeeze. I am in the back. My head is touching the roof currently right now. This is the amount of room I would have to give somebody to be behind me. Now that brings me to the third issue I have is the taillights. So the taillights are looking pretty good. Now this is a personal preference for me, but I would have rather liked to see the Lexus IS taillights on here. And that might cause a little bit of like, oh, well, now all of them look exactly the same, because undoubtedly all of the front ends on the Lexuses look identical. And then you would make the rear end almost look identical across all of them, then it would look stupid. So here is my next problem. As you can see, this is the drivetrain mode. This is the button that changes from Eco, Normal, Sport, and then Sport Plus. Now my problem is that Sport Plus does absolutely nothing. Sport Plus on this car is about as useful as the rear seats. Yes, Sport Plus is supposed to tighten the suspension a little bit and the steering. So when you're doing a cornering or other things like that. But it doesn't really feel like it does much at all. So Sport Plus just seems like really a pointless mode in a vehicle that doesn't utilize it at all. Now, 100% you notice the difference between Eco and Normal, and then Normal and Sport. Sport Plus, they never needed it. It's kind of stupid. doesn't feel like it's worth anything. Even in manual mode when you're doing the paddle shifters, I just wouldn't have had Sport Plus. That's really all I have to say about that. So my next problem is kind of like a two-part problem. I didn't want to make it into two separate ones, but it easily could be. The first part is this feels so sluggish at times when you really want to step into it, or when you really want it. It gets through traffic, but at the same time, it's not exactly what you would want. With 306 horsepower, it's pretty good. It's not bad. It gets out of its own way, but sometimes it feels like it just doesn't. Now that kind of ties into the next part. The reason why the motor doesn't really feel that great, the car is like a Hellcat of Lexus without a V8. This is coming in at a staggering 3,800 pounds. This car is heavy, and that's half the reason why the motor doesn't feel like it's enough for the car. Now, if the motor had 380 horsepower rather than the 306, or if the car had about 500 less pounds on it, give or take, the car would be a whole nother masterpiece. It would wake it up like you wouldn't believe. Now, a lot of people on the IS, they do the RR Racing Supercharger, I believe, is probably the most popular one. I'm not really looking to do all that. So unfortunately, I'm going to be stuck with a little bit of a sluggishness. The car feels like it wants to get up and go off the line, but you kind of got to get in the RPMs before you do anything. Or if you're already moving and you lay into it, it feels like, oh, wow, I'm getting somewhere now. But you kind of already have to be in the move to utilize the power. That's probably the biggest problem with this car. For what you pay and how much power it feels like it's getting, it doesn't really feel equal. Also, if you guys also own an RC or even an IS, and you have some issue that I didn't speak on, let me know in the comments section. Otherwise, thank you guys for watching. This has been 5 things I kind of hate about my car while still loving it all the same. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you guys leave me a like, comment on the video, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more, and I'll see you guys in the next video. We got a project I'm going to be tackling that is, it's going to be major. Let me give you a sneak peek.